Yeah. Oh.
Mikey, Mikey,
Mikey.
Mikey, Mikey, Mikey. Thank you guys. Wow, thank you guys so much for the warm welcoming. I did not expect all of these backgrounds, so that really shocked me. But first of all, I just want to say thank you guys for inviting me this evening. I do not take this for granted. And when Jessica reached out to me, and I know Jessica's been kind of bugging me, but hey, can you do a board plan for me? Can you do a board plan for my team? I was like, yeah, just let's talk to Boon Q. Ask Boon Q, and it's again, I don't take this lightly. To be able to serve the bigger team, Phil, Jeff and Stella, Phil and Luna now. Sorry, congratulations by the way. Jeff and Stella and Jessica, you guys are a huge inspiration. Phil, I remember you were my first board plan actually. I think we actually talked about that before. Yeah, you were my first board plan, so you kind of gave me a lot of hope into the business. You were very well spoken. I understood your plan perfectly. I was still confused about the numbers, but the way you presented yourself, it really captivated me. You're a huge inspiration to me. My team looks up to you a lot too. Me and I would always have discussions with Boo, and I would always tell, hey Boo, I may not be as big as Phil right now, team wise, but I will have the same work ethic as Phil one day. So thank you so much for setting the right example for not only for me but my team and even our cross lines like Roxy. I think she's here this evening. So and then I know Jeff and Stella. They were probably one of the first few people that I actually talked to. So thank you so much, Jeff and Stella, for being like running buddies. I saw you guys as running buddies, and I can't wait for you guys to go platinum this year. You guys are in great hands with the great leadership of Phil and Jessica. Again, congratulations on going Q12. I'll be there next time, next Achievers trip too. So I know you really inspired some of my downlines like Beige and Angie when we went over to did the cover disc at your place. So thank you again for letting us come over. It was really cool just to have a live meeting in person again. Today I guess Jessica wanted me to share a little bit more about my story in a little bit more detail because I think some people have heard my story, but not to the point where the whole entire thing. And I guess my story, you can kind of say it's a story of hope. And I honestly thank the BWW and this mentorship program for everything that this has done for me. So just a little bit about myself for those people that don't know. Who's actually, if you can raise your hand virtually, I just want to see who is less than 90 days in the business or less than a year in the business. Couple of people now. Cool. So, yeah. And Justin, I know you just launched today, so congratulations on earning an offer. This is just the beginning. Okay, so we have a couple of people in there too. Awesome. So yeah, okay, awesome. I just wanted to see who's new here. So you can go ahead and put your hands down. But yeah, I just wanted to say it's been a very emotional journey. And sometimes when I share my story, I do get emotional. So just a heads up. And I think it's just because of where I've come from before joining the business. Again, just a little bit about myself. So I'm already getting emotional about it. Just a little bit about myself. Thank you. Just a little
Be
bit.
excited.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah. Just before joining the business, I'll be very honest. After I went through college, just kind of always questioning myself. What is it that I'm doing, and just growing up, I never really had that guidance or sense of direction of where I wanted to go in life. I went to Cal State Fullerton, as I mentioned in the first session. I went to Cal State Fullerton, graduated with a graphic design degree. But then I started to kind of second guess myself. And I'm not sure if anybody else has kind of second guessed themselves in the decisions that they've been, that they made for themselves in terms of career path wise. And I guess it got to a point where I got genuinely lost. Again, that going back to that question of what do you want to do when you grow up was such a very hard, loaded question to ask for me to answer. I compared myself to a lot of my friends. A lot of them were getting their doctorates, PhDs. Some of them engineers, IT professionals, and for me myself, I looked at it. I looked at my profession. And I started thinking like, I'm just going to be a graphic designer. I'm just going to be an artist. what am I, doing? And I guess I started doing a lot of negative self-talk. And my parents would always kind of compare me to my friends from high school. Hey, this person's going to Berkeley, this person's going to UCLA, this person's going to this and this and that. Why aren't you like them? And I know they didn't mean that intentionally, but it did hurt a lot of my self-image back then. I didn't believe that I could really do anything, just because of being compared so much to the people surrounding me. And but yeah, just I think what really triggered a lot of my mental downfall was during my junior year in college. And as I mentioned in the board plan, I really contemplated, is graphic design something that I really want to pursue? Because to be honest, I never saw myself wanting to work a 9 to 5 job for the rest of my life. It didn't, to me personally, it didn't make sense. Just waking up every single morning, going to work, sitting in traffic and doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I would always kind of see my parents always argue about money. And keep in mind, I was like maybe 8 7 8 years old, didn't really understand this concept of money, but my parents would always argue about it. And it was so funny because I know Nick Nowoki, he kind of shared a very similar story where when his dad left him, he promised his mom that, mom, when I get older, I'm gonna make all this money and take care of you and everything like that. And it really correlated with me because Nick's also half Filipino, so it really touched me. It's like, hey, if this Filipino guy can do it, another Filipino guy can do it too as well. And but yeah, anyways, yeah, just kind of second guessing what I was trying to do. I was just kind of like drifting through life, you can say. Just trying to figure out, what is it? Am I just supposed to be working a job? It doesn't make sense. There should be something else out there, but I just wasn't aware of it. And Vu would always share with me, like, you know what you know what you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And this business was something that I did not know of not knowing, right? If that makes sense. And just after a while, just graduating college, I remember walking on stage, getting my diploma. I was actually thinking about, switching over to kinesiology. Maybe doing that would kind of change my perspective of what kind of path that I wanted. But I still, I started to question myself again. Do I really want to be spending another couple of years at Cal State Fullerton and spend another couple of $1,000s at Cal State Fullerton and kind of end up with the same question? Is this something that I want to be doing for the rest of my life? But just to kind of not create any tension among my mom and dad, I just decided to finish off get my degree, get my bachelor's, my very expensive piece of paper, as you can see over here, that I don't really use yet as of right now. And I remember walking on stage, grabbing my diploma, taking pictures, seeing my parents very happy. A first child to get a college degree. They're happy, smiling, giggling, laughing with my relatives. But then deep down inside my heart, I wasn't genuinely happy, just because I already knew what the outcome was, and I didn't like that outcome of working a job, or just that kind of lifestyle, just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Just how I saw my parents. And after college, what happens after you graduate? You have to work a job. There's nothing really else after that. Worked at a couple of boba shops, worked at a couple of restaurants. Uh, I love music festivals, so I used to go to a lot of music festivals back in college, and I found the love of it. And but after a while, just kind of as I kept kind of doing it over and over and over again, I found it as more of a distraction for the reality that I was actually trying to face. And I feel like that's what happens to a lot of young individuals that try to escape through, when it comes to like maybe alcohol or drugs and stuff like that. And to be honest, that was something that I was doing, and just trying to escape that harsh reality, trying to ease the pain. And I don't want to say I was associating with bad people. It's just the association I was hanging out with wasn't really progressing far in life. And I understood that if I kept hanging out around with these people, I'm not going to get that far. And I guess you can say that after a while, I started to spiral down mentally into something very, very dark, into depression and suicide. This is and my first. I actually thought about suicide twice. I know it's a very touchy subject, but I'm gonna get to the good point here. Um, yeah, the hopeful point here. And I think I started feeling this way after, yeah, right after college, just trying to do certain things, join different clubs and fraternities and stuff like that too. But I never felt genuinely satisfied with it. Just trying to find an escape or just trying to find some form of light in my life. And that was just when my friend or my upline at the time, interesting. She didn't drop the message to me, but she was just trying to sell me some products. And because I think she prejudged me at the time. And I don't recommend, if you're going through A and B list, go back to your coach and mentor again. Don't prejudge people when you're going through your A and B list, because you never know when that next person might be your next platinum. You never know when that next person might be the next Jessica or Phil Lee or Jeff and Stella, right? And yeah, I remember she was telling me she was trying to sell me some of the excess pre-workout, and I told her, "Oh, I'm not really interested in the pre-workout, but I'm very interested into what you're doing." Because me and my friend would always kind of go to different parties, go to a lot of social events, and next thing you know, she kind of disappeared for a while. So I think she disappeared for like 6 months, and I just didn't see where she went. And I would follow her on social media, and she was wearing, like, she would be going to meetings, hotel meetings, dressing up, and it was a little odd for me because she would never dress that way. So again, when she was talking about more about her business, I was curious, like, oh, like, what have you been doing over the past couple of months, just to simply trying to catch up. And she mentioned, oh, I just started a business. I was like, oh, cool. Are you guys hiring? Because again, at that time, I was really looking for something. Like, I was doing X, Y, and Z, and just nothing ever made me feel again fulfilled. And I was just looking for something, just anything. I remember literally praying. So I'm Catholic, so I remember literally praying to God, God, please, please give me something. I'm looking for something. I need help. I don't know if anybody has felt that kind of way, just like just an answer to your prayers, right? And I feel like that was an answer to my prayers. So I took the opportunity. I think me and Phil can kind of relate in that sense, that we were both I was very skeptical about the opportunity, and I don't think it was about the business opportunity, but more so skeptical of myself to see if I can actually build the opportunity or get involved with the opportunity.
Right.
And do I have the capability to make this work? Is it going to work for me? All these questions going in my head. And yeah, just talking about the business opportunity, she mentioned, oh, it's not a job, but if you're interested, I can definitely introduce you to my mentor Q, which happens to be her a high school friend. So I was open minded I was like both open minded but skeptical at the same time, just to because I was afraid of, like, just what else is this gonna be, like another job? Am I gonna fail at this one thing? But I took it upon myself just to say, you know what, let's just try. It doesn't hurt to have a conversation with this person, Q. And it's so funny. When I hear the word mentor, and I think I shared this before, but when I heard the word mentor, uh, in my head I just pictured somebody who is 40 years old, a 40-year-old Caucasian lady. I don't know why. That was just how I kind of envisioned a mentor or a guy, right? And but when I met Q for the first time, I was very shocked and I was very surprised. So I remember going with my friend to meet up with Q, and I asked, "Oh, where is Q?" And she's like, "Oh, she's right over there." Now again, keep in mind, I'm thinking that she's an older lady, maybe well in her 30s and 40s, and my friend said, "Oh, she's right over there," and I'm like, "Where? I don't see her." It's like, "Right over there." It's like, "Where? I don't see her." It's like, "Mikey, right over there." And we've known each other for 5 years, so we've kind of played around. It's like, "She's right over there, Mikey. Are you blind? I'm gonna hit you." And I was like, I don't see her. It's like that girl over there with the long blonde platinum hair. So Q, if you guys don't know, if you guys seen Q, she has dark brown hair right now, but back then she had long, like long platinum hair. And to be honest, I was very shocked and surprised, and I was like, what the heck is this? Like a lot of red flags in my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
because at that time when I started, when I saw the opportunity, I was 27 years old, and Q was only 22. So going in with a bit of an ego, especially with a guy too, coming in with an ego, thinking like, oh, what does this young person have to tell me about life? Like, what does he or she know about life, right? But the moment that I sat down with Q and having a conversation with her, she completely, she completely surprised me. The way that she spoke, the way that she carried herself, the way just everything about her, I was like, wow. Because just simply the way that she carried herself, compared to a lot of the 22-year-old people that I've met, um, And, she was just very mature for her age. And I was like, wow, like I kind of want to hear more what she has to say. So as we were kind of getting to know each other, as we were kind of getting to know each other, um, I was asking Q, what does she do? And she was asking me, what do I do? And I said, oh, I go to Cal State Fullerton, trying go to Cal State Fullerton, or I just graduated from Cal State Fullerton. Got my graphic design degree, also got my NASM certification. Just trying to look good in front of her, you can say, because it's my like first impressions count. It was so funny. I even brought my resume, still thinking it was a job. So I remember I had a tie and my backpack, and I brought a resume to show the Q. I just brought it just in case, because you never know. And and I still find it so funny too. And as Q was kind of talking to me, and we were kind of getting to know each other, she asked me, it's nice to meet you, Mikey. Our friend told me a little bit about you, and why is it that you have decided to have this? Why have you decided to sit down with me today? And I said, to be honest with you, Q, after graduating and doing all this stuff, I'm just looking for something. I'm looking for an opportunity. I've been going on LinkedIn. I've been going on all these other job sites. No one's hiring me. And all of these people are asking for 3 to 5 years experience for a level entry job. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do that, and it just didn't make sense to me. And she said, I told her, to be honest with you, I feel genuinely lost. And she said, and she kind of comforted me in a way where she said, I totally understand where you're coming from. I also thought the same way too when I was going through college. And she kind of brought to my attention that why a lot of people right now in their 20s and even in their 30s still feel lost is because we've been taught and asked the wrong question. And I was like, what do you mean by that? It's like the reason why so many people feel lost these days is because we've been asking that question. And the real question that we should start asking ourselves is, how do you want to live your life? And she asked me, has anybody ever asked you that question before? And I was like, no, not really. I think you're the first one. Right. And she said, if you were to put, the job aside, the income aside, the time aside, how would you want to live your life? And I said, and to be, again, I didn't really know how to. I took a minute, and I didn't really know what to say to her or respond, because it's just been career and job and all this stuff. I was like, I mean, I guess I would love to travel, go to the mall, very, very small dreams, right? You go to the mall. Because no one ever asked me to dream before. No one ever told me to think outside of the box. I mean, I love to travel, spend time with my parents, spend time with my friends, go to music festivals. That was what I was into at the time, and all this stuff. And it's like, great. Let me ask you, but the current career path that you're going on right now, graphic design and personal training, is that going to help lead you to where you want to be in life, where you actually want to be in life? And I said, no. It's like, do you know anybody in your profession, graphic design and personal training, that also live that lifestyle that you want to be, that you actually want to live? That's traveling the world, spending time with your parents. And I said, still no. That's when I started to freak out a little bit. That's when I started to freak out a little bit. I was like, what do I do now? I spent thousands of dollars at school. I spent a couple of years at Cal State Fullerton, and next thing you know, that the path that I was personally going on myself, right, was not the path that was for me personally, right? And she asked me, like, and I remember responding back to her and said, so what do I do now then? I don't know what to do. I'm so like, I don't want to work a job. I don't want to do this. I want to travel, but what I'm doing is not going to help me get to where I want to be in life. And Q said, if you want my advice, then I recommend you build an asset for yourself. And I was like, well, what is an asset? Again, coming from an art background, I don't have any experience in business. So the people who have a business background, like business administration, you guys are way ahead of me, way ahead of me, right? So hopefully that kind of gives you hope too. And if you're into art too, that even an artist can go platinum too. So, and uh, and then after that, I was like, Q was like, I don't know anything about business. I don't know anything about building assets. I don't know what I've heard the term passive residual income before. And she said, well, if you're interested, I can teach you, right? I can show you and guide you your way. Now, and I said, yeah, sure, I'm definitely open to it. And the reason why I was so open to it was, again, I'm going to travel back a little bit time. So before I actually met Q, this was back in 2018. So I started my business in 2019. I met Q. Yeah, I started. yeah, so I launched my business back in 2019, and met Q in 2019, but a lot of things happened prior to 2019. I think so around like as I was working a kind of a couple restaurant jobs, I remember this one time I was working at a Japanese barbecue restaurant, and I loved where I was working at the time. I loved it. My boss loved me. My boss loved me. He saw me as like a good person to you know run the be second in command. You can kind of say. He trusted me. Sometimes I would take over his shift as like the assistant manager, and I really fully enjoyed it too. It was a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends over there. But I remember on this one Wednesday night, it was like Wednesday night, 9 p.m. No barely any customers. There's just me and my server. And I remember I was a busser at that time too. I was bussing the table, and I started to have these negative thoughts in my head. And I said, I think at that time I was like 25, 27 years old. And I was like, what are you doing? You're 25 years old, 26 years old, and you're a busser. What are you doing with your life? All these negative talks before, that talks that I've had, and I guess that's when like my real, like, I guess that you could say that's when my depression started really starting to kick in, and talking negatively about myself. And it got to the point where I think I started needing help. And so next following month too, after I quit that job, I was trying to find another job, thinking that my next career path next job was going to help me. I kept coming into that same end result. So I started working at another restaurant job just to make some extra money. The tips were a little bit better, but the work was still a lot. And after working there for 6 months, I said, you know what, enough's enough. I can't do this. I'm mentally drained. I'm physically drained. I don't know how people can do this. And I remember putting my 2 weeks into that restaurant down here in SoCal, and I will always remember this night. I'll always remember this night. Uh, it was my last Friday night shift, and it was a late night happy hour, and yeah, midnight happy hour. I don't know what restaurant does that. A late night happy hour usually is at 5 o'clock. A late night happy hour, and I'm already exhausted. I'm already busting tables. I'm running around and everything like that too. And I'm ready to go. Like, I'm simply just ready to go home. Next thing you know, maybe about 50 people show up, and as I was kind of like clearing out the next table, I see again a rush of 50 plus people coming in, and I take a pause. I'm carrying like this huge, large bucket of dirty dishes, and I said to myself, again, what the heck is wrong with you? You're 26, 27 years old, and you're still a buster. What are you doing with your life? You know, you're this, you're that, and it got to the point where like, I literally wanted to drop everything. I literally wanted to drop everything and just run outside and just cry, because I just didn't believe in myself, and I just didn't think that I'm worthy of anything, you know. Um, but then I told myself, I only have 2 hours left of the shift. I'm gonna stay strong, not cry in front of customers. And I remember there's this one gentleman. He actually stopped me. So as I was kind of running around, like picking up dirty dishes and stuff like that too, this gentleman, he stops me and he says, "Hey, can you come over here?" So thinking that he wanted to order something, like some food and or some drinks. So I rush over, try to hold my composure and everything like that. And I was like, "Good evening, sir. How can I help you?" And he said, uh, actually, like, did you want any water? Did you want any food? And I said, and he responded, no, no, I just wanted to say, I really like what I saw out there. And I started and I thought to myself, like, oh, what do you mean by that? Like, I really like what I saw out there. Uh, I've been here, and then the gentleman said, I've been sitting here for quite some time, and I really appreciate what you've been doing in terms of like work ethic. I've been here for about 2 hours or so, and I see you were the hardest working employee here. And he started asking me questions like, oh, and I said, oh, and I responded, oh, well, thank you, I really appreciate it. And then he followed up with another question saying, what is it that you're trying to do here? Are you trying to move up the corporate ladder, trying to stay in the food industry? And I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, to be honest with you, sir, I'm just trying to survive. I have some bills to pay. I just need income. And he said, what I saw out there this evening, I know you'll be okay. And at that moment, I literally wanted to cry, because for this stranger that I've never met in my entire life, give me some encouraging words that, I'm good at what I do, or I have good work ethic. it really touched my heart because I couldn't even say that. I couldn't even say it to myself, you know. And I was like probably the first person that has ever has really said that to me in such a long time. And he asked me, "Oh, what's your name?" I was like, "Oh, my name is Michael." I said, "Oh, my name is Michael too." I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And he said, "You know, after what I saw there this evening, I know you'll be a fantastic. I know you'll do fine." And I remember sharing this story with Rue, and when I first got started, and he said, "Do you know who that was?" And I said, "No, I don't." He's like, "That was pretty much God." He asked me if I was religious, and I said, "Yeah." He said, "That was pretty much God coming down saying, pretty much God saying, hey, hold on just for a little second," because at that time, that was when I wanted to commit suicide. There were two instances where I actually wanted to kill myself, right? And I guess I saw that as God again coming down saying, "Hey, just hold on just a little bit longer. I have something in store for you," right? And then that was around like October, I believe, and then November, um, it was I remember this. It was November 24th, 9 p.m. Just going through a lot of mental battles. I was at home by myself. And I actually have a pull-up bar in my room, and I remember I was just going through a lot of stuff, and I remember I have a pull-up bar here in my room. I have a belt right next to my door, and I'm not sure what kind of what was going on through my head. And I started just speaking very, very, very negative about myself. And I said, just, you're worthless. You're not worth anything. No one likes you, all this stuff. Right. And there are about 99 voices telling me, do it. Just do it. You're not worthy. No one likes you, all of this stuff. But then there was just one little tiny voice inside my head, this one whisper that said, don't do it. And I remember like I think I was crying for like about an hour or 2 hours, just like fighting it. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in my head, but I chose to listen to a little voice of positivity that said, "Don't do it." Um, and just saying, just it's okay, just keep going. And then yeah, now fast forward, it's Christmas time, everybody's celebrating, and then comes 2019. That's my birthday. Going out every Friday, partying and doing all this stuff too. And then now moving forward again, that's when I met Q, and when Q was the first person to actually ask me, how do I want to live my life, right? And Q helped me understand that a lot of people want this in their lives, but they pick a vehicle thinking it's going to get them somewhere else, but it actually takes them somewhere else, you know. And she helped me realize that. And I said, Q, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do with your time? You're the only person that I know who's quote unquote financially independent. And when she told me that she retired from Bank of America, I was very surprised. I was like, "What do you do? Tell me what you did, because I want to know what you did." Right? I was like very intrigued, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you what I do and teach you what I do. However, I do put people through a vetting process, because at the end of the day, I don't want to waste my time working with the wrong individuals." And I'm old enough to understand that, because as you kind of get older, your time is very important. And I said, "Yeah, sure. Whatever you need, just let me know what I need to do next. What are the next steps?" And then she started handing me the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, or no, Business of the 21st Century. And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of books, but that book changed my life. It definitely opened my perspective on other opportunities out there. And I guess I got really excited about it because I guess it was like another doorway for myself. And just moving forward, I earned an offer to be a part of the team, started my business, and I still remember the first time that when I when I earned the offer and started my business, I already wanted to quit. I already wanted to quit. And again, it wasn't because of the business, but I was like, I think it was because of me. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. Again, a lot of negative self talk. And I remember there was this, I think around March, my first month in business, I think Misa was being celebrated or recognized as a brand new silver or gold. And that's when Ali came in and flew. Now, keep in mind, I'm a new IBO. I don't know what's going on. People are cheering and screaming and laughing and crying of cheers of joy. But so I didn't know what was going on. But again, I was kind of at the same, while everybody was cheering and having fun. Uh, in my head, I was again speaking a lot of negatives to myself. And then I remember pulling Vu over to the side because him after having a couple of conversations with him about being like a mentor, I was like, hey, if you're gonna be my mentor, I think it's only right for you to know what's going on with me. And to me, I'm not sure about you guys, but to me, I took mentorship very seriously. Because right now you can kind of see a lot of these mentors on social media and everything like that too. But to be honest, I don't believe that kind of stuff. Like I can teach you how to make $10,000 in 3 months. I don't believe that kind of mentor, like quote unquote mentor. But what I was really impressed with Vu and Q is that uh, they actually drove down to SoCal just to meet me. Because back then they used to live in San Jose. So knowing that they would drive 5 to 6, 7 hours just to meet me and have a meeting with me, because back then we didn't have Zoom, we barely used Skype. So that kind of released a lot of skepticisms that I had in the back of my head. And that even knowing that my parents wouldn't do it for me, like drive a couple of hours, my parents wouldn't do that. I know my parents wouldn't do that for me. I know my best friends wouldn't do that for me, but for two complete strangers that I've never met in my entire life to do that for me, it showed that they cared. And you know, Q would always remind me like people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that was when I started to build that trust with, I guess, releasing that skepticism of them. I started really trusting them a little bit more. Um, and uh, uh, and after that, I remember having a conversation with Ruth. Hey, if you're going to be coaching me and mentoring me, I want to let you know what's kind of going through my head. So just to let you know, I've been going through a lot of depression and suicidal thoughts, and I started to cry because I it was a very hard subject to talk about to people, right? That's like it's a very touchy subject. And I remember Vu saying like, "Can I ask you a question?" He said, "Yeah, sure." It's like, "Do you have hope?" And I said, "Yes." So keep in mind, I'm crying at this time. I'm trying to hold myself together. "Do you have hope?" And I said, "I think so." And then he said, "Then you can't be depressed." And to be honest, I was very like what the heck did you just say? Like how that's a little bit that's very rude of you to say. I'm literally, you know, expressing my feelings towards you. And for you to tell me that I don't have that I'm not depressed, it's, you know, like what the heck? And then he said, I want you to think about it, right? You can't be hot and cold at the same time. You can't be in NorCal and SoCal at the same time, right? You can't be black and white at the same time. And you can't have hope and be depressed at the same time. Because if you did not have hope, you would have already killed yourself a long time ago. So there was something deep down inside of you that said, hey, keep going, keep going, keep going. And he said, I want you to read this book. It's called The Magic of Thinking Big. How many people have how many of you guys have actually read the book? Right? It's a fantastic book for new IBOs less than 90 days. If you haven't read that book, reach out to your coach and mentor. Highly recommended. Right? And that book really changed my whole perspective. That book literally saved my life. And That book literally saved my life because it was interesting because all of my cross signs at the time they were reading The Go Giver, right? And then that's another fantastic book. But I was curious as to why he wanted me to read that book. And but I remember just reading the first few chapters, like, oh my gosh, like this is what I needed to hear, or this is what I needed to read, you know. And there uh, and I really appreciate what Vu and Q have done for me. I wasn't the fastest IBO. I was probably one of the hardest people to work with. Q almost dropped me from MG2 because I just didn't understand the plan. I just didn't understand the circles. I remember her drawing the circles and McDonald's and Hamburg University and all this stuff, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep nodding my head yes, and just I'm gonna keep agreeing with what she says, but deep down inside, I'm like, I have no idea what she's talking about. And but yeah, I didn't understand anything. I just didn't know what was going on. But I just wanted to show my accountability to her. You know, when she asked me to show up at this meeting at this time, I said, yeah, sure. I remember we were having a follow-up one meeting, and I got off of work at maybe 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And I worked, so for people in SoCal, I used to work in Fountain Valley, and Q wanted to meet me up in El Monte. And that drive from Fountain Valley all the way to El Monte is about 45 minutes to an hour. And that I remember that night, it was raining super hard. It was raining super hard, and I smelled like fish because I used to work at a seafood place. It smelled like fish, and I remember reaching halfway there, and I hydroplaned, and I almost spun. Thankfully, there's no cars around me, and I almost spun, and I said to myself, what the heck am I doing? I don't even know this person. It's 11 p.m. to 11:30 at night. I don't know this person. I don't understand what I'm going through right now. It's a business opportunity, but I don't know what kind of business opportunity. And but I don't know why, but a part of me just said, just to keep going to the meeting, just keep going to the meeting. Even if you don't understand, just keep going to the meeting. So that one is something that I'll never forget. And I guess there's a character trait of myself is that whenever somebody told me to, whenever my upline, like when you ask me to do certain things, I'll do it, right, without question. I think that was just an attribute for myself. But after, but then just moving forward, right, after reading the book, still very hesitant on doing the business. I was putting in the work, you can say, but it's still very reluctant. I remember I launched one of my friends into the business, and I launched my friends into the business, and I think that was April or May, my second month of business, second or third month of business. And right when I launched him, I wanted to quit again. That was my second time I wanted to quit. But then I looked at him and said, I can't do that to my friend who I brought in, who I introduced the business, introduced the business. And so I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna keep sticking it out. But and as I was kind of going through the months and just slowly like integrating into the business, like doing 50 PV, doing 50 PV was so hard for me back then. My self-image was so low. I didn't know how. I remember negotiating with Vu. It's like, Vu, can I just do 50 PV? And it's like, yeah, you can do 50 PV, but don't expect to make a lot of money here in the business. And I was like, okay, that's very true, right? But then everything kind of really changed once I went to FED, and and I remember Vu telling me, like, big decisions are made at big events. So for people who have not been to a leadership meeting yet, like the spring leadership that's coming up, go. Highly recommend you go, because that back in 2009, my first big conference was spring 2019, and that also kind of I guess you can say, like, pulled me in, because I to be honest with you, I thought this was a very small meeting. I thought this was a very, very small meeting, and there were about yeah, very sorry, not very small meeting, but a very small business. But once I first entered into the room, and I saw like thousands of people all together, I started to ask myself, like, wow, all these people are doing this business. From 18 years old all the way up to like 55 years old, they're building this business, engineers, professionals making six-figure income. So I started to question myself, why are these people here? Why are these people building something else on the side? So, and it kind of created a lot more curiosity in me. And then as I kind of progressed into my business, what really got me in was FED. So for those people who have never been to FED, or Free Enterprise Day, it's our biggest conference of the year. I think that time there was about 20,000 people. And at that time still, I did not understand what the business was about, but I 110% understood uh, uh, why people build the business. And this is something that I've learned recently, and it's so funny how it correlated with my personal journey. Is that helping a person doesn't necessarily change the world, but it changes the world of that person. So I'll say that again. Helping a person doesn't necessarily change the world, but it changes the world of that person. And that's what the function did for me. That's what the business opportunity did for me. From a guy that was suicidal, depressed, that with barely to little any hope, to now becoming one of the most hopeful individuals, one of the most helpful individuals. And a lot of people ask, why do you stay in this business? And it wasn't to be, and it wasn't because of the money, and it wasn't because of the recognition. It wasn't because of any of that. Said, hey, we're here to help you. We are here to give you hope. And even Phil talked about it earlier, right? That everybody here has a great business opportunity. Everybody has a great business opportunity to change somebody's life, right? But are you willing to actually go out there and make that change, right? We have, Gandhi's very famous for this quote, be the change that you want to see in the world. And for me, uh, I remember having this conversation with Vu. He called me, I think this is Orlando's back in like 2000, I forgot the year. I think it was like 2001, 2001, when it was Amway Achievers. he calls me up. He calls me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and 5 p.m. or 5 o'clock in the morning over in Florida. And he calls me. He doesn't even. He says hi, kind of. He was like, Mikey, you have to go Emerald. And I was like, why do I have to go Emerald? He's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Why are you telling me this stuff right now? And it's like, your story was able to impact so many people's lives that you don't know how many people are going through your personal situation, and how that you were able to get through it. And he said there's a couple of people that I would love to introduce you one day, because you actually gave them a beacon of hope for the future. And for me, again, I don't see this as making money and time, which I would love to have, but I would just love to if I could save one person's life by simply sharing my story of how this business saved me. That's all that matters. That's all that matters to me too, you know. And I also realized too that the decisions that we make in life, right? Some of us, like, we come into the business with certain different circumstances. Like, oh, I'm not a business professional. I don't know anything about business. Oh, I don't have money, or I don't know English, or I only this and this and that. And I remember also hearing this one time is that we justify ourselves by those different excuses, and that also knowing that we're all of us are born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our decisions, right? And I knew if I don't change my decisions, I'm gonna look like my decisions when I pass away. And I think at this pivotal moment, this building this business was a fresh new start for me. For 27 years I wasn't really doing anything, but this
Dạ
business
em cảm ơn thầy ạ.
this business and this mentorship
Dạ,
gave
have a
me
good
that
night.
second chance
Yeah.
in life, just to keep to fix whatever I need to fix my health problems, fix my relationship problems, fix my money problems too. And Q told me that the easiest problem to fix is fixing your money problems, right? And for me, my dream is one day just to be a full-time dad, just like what Q is being right now. She's about to give birth. It's very exciting. She's gonna be a full-time mom, and to be able to have that kind of lifestyle um, uh, is something that I really, really would love to have, and leave a legacy for myself too. Again, I don't do this for the recognition. I don't do for any of this stuff. I just want to be able to say, hey, this business helped me. This business opportunity may help you if you give it a chance, if you give yourself a chance, if you give yourself some hope too. So, but yeah, so that was pretty much of my story. I think I cut a lot about it, a lot out of it, but that was pretty much my story and where I came from. And the main reason why I wanted to go platinum was because I wanted to serve the bigger team. I've heard stories from Phil and like Misa and the original people, that how much Vu and Q sacrificed for their downlines and for their team. And just hearing these stories and not actually getting to see it, I saw the passion and the care and the love. And I said, you know what? I feel like I told myself Vu and Q deserve this. I hear so many people talking about them. I didn't really know who they were to a certain point. And I said, you know what? I know that my goal is attached to their goal. And Q always taught me that the best way to pay back is by paying it forward. And I said, hey, Q, Vu, because you helped me get through my, situations, personal situations, I want to help you. I want to help you too. Because what is this business about? It's about serving other people, serving your upline, serving your downline, even serving your crosslines in certain and to a certain point. And I just wanted to be a part of Vu and Q's Emerald ship, and I want to be a part of Vu and Q's Diamond ship. I want to play a huge role in Vu and Q's Diamond ship, and even EDC ship too. And I know I remember Ali would always talk to us about like your God won't give you what you're not willing to give to your uplines. And I knew that this was a team effort. I knew I had to just kind of put all my problems to the side, put all my ego to the side. And when Vu and Q started speaking about Emerald Chip, I said, I don't know what Emerald Chip is, but I'm open into participating. I wanted to be a part of your I want to be a part of your story. I want to be a part of your legacy. I want to be the main one of a main character in your diamond story, right? And right now that our team is expanding, and I can't wait to see Vuan Q go diamond. I can't wait to see Vuan Q go EDC. And even right now, I can't wait for to see Phil and Luna go diamond this year too. So I just want to say early congratulations, Phil, for that huge accomplishment. It's well deserved. You definitely earn it. I know there was a lot when you shared your Founders Emerald story on stage in SoCal. One of my downlines, Dylan, he was very inspired by it. And he always talks about you and how much you've impacted him. And so, again, you've also impacted myself too. And I hope that we can go we can go EDC together in the future. We can go to Hawaii together, and everybody here too. Like everybody has the capability to do so. And I remember Mahad saying this though, is that what humans can do is amazing, but what they choose to do is disappointing. And I wanted to make sure that with this business I do the right thing, because I know helping other people, helping my uplines, helping my downlines achieve certain goals, that's the right thing to do in this business. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share. But thank you so much,
Mike,
guys, for oh
Mike.
yes. uh,
Well, thank you so much. Well, I do have a follow-up questions, but so
yes.
far it's been what an incredible, it's incredibly emotional, and there's so many people was teary, this past hour listening to your story. Um, I mean, it really made me want to do my story again, because listening to your story, I felt like I haven't got through enough of problems, and but you went through so many things thick and thin, and you bounced back, which is I love the part when you shared about you died like your decision. I
Mm,
mean, that's so true. That's so true. How so many people, they just living their life, drifted away, um, get caught up to whatever in front of them, and sometimes they forgot their biggest vision. They are someone to somebody else's life, and we kind of lost of that vision, and we're thinking of ending our life, and it was Vuan Q that kind of saved your life the same way they saved my life. So, I mean, appreciate the BW team and your story, but I do have a little follow up questions of, since you got started, you talked about that till you got a little bit more core and all in. Um, can you share a little bit about how the journey you went from the team you had to the point you start qualification platinum? And within that 6 months, I know it was a lot of tough fight. There are people that came and there are people that was gone. And I remember that was the time that it was so hard for you, because I remember your upline left the team. Can you talk a little bit about the number you have at that time and the fight you have going platinum,
mm,
and how you guys work together as a unified team to submit to that one goal? Because I remember PV was like fluctuating big time, and you know the very last minute was when miracle happened. You got the 7500 PV done.
mm,
um yeah, I mean, some people here, it's about to be in qualification because they want to be part of their upline. Some of these guys want to be part of Jeff and Stella platinum ship, Mia platinum ship. So they will definitely get really inspired by the fight that you guys had in that 6 or 7 months window.
got it. Awesome. Great question. So it definitely brings me back. So I remember when I first started the business. I also remember. Thank you, Phil, for asking that question. I remember when I first started the business. Again, just telling myself, you know what, I'm gonna try the business for a year, see where this pans out, and if it doesn't work out for me, I'll just quit the business, because it's just a year, right? It's like sometimes you work at a job for a year, and if it doesn't work out, you just move on to the next job. And but I told myself at least try, because I didn't want to be that one person that just does something and doesn't do anything at all. It's like getting a gym membership but not going to the gym at all. It's like you're paying a monthly fee here and there, but you're not actually utilizing it, right? So I remember Mahad, our upline, saying like, Mahad, if you can give me one advice, what would it be? I'm a new IBO. I just started about 2 months ago. What's one advice that you would give me? And he said, go to all the associations, go to all the meetings. And I said, yeah, sure. And so I kind of took that advice, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and go to attend all of the meetings. Put in the work in. I was very slow though, putting people through the process, and after going through 65 people through my A and B list, and this is what I don't recommend people. Don't do things for the first time without checking upline, because I used to make that mistake, just to do things without really counseling with them, because I could have leveraged my A and B list a lot faster, if I didn't have such a high ego back then, and should have asked the Boon Q to help me with my process appointments. So, but after just kind of going through 65 people, almost giving up, God kind of introduced me to this one person, and that was actually my first downline that actually stayed in the business, and her name is Eileen. I think she's here this evening. She's a brand new BFI, by the way. Brand new BFI, so congratulations, Eileen, on that. And she's been one of the most loyal downlines on my team. And as I was building the business with Eileen and other downlines, I think there's about really fighting hard, and they were talking about Boon Q were promoting a lot of big events like Kalahari. In order for you to qualify for Kalahari, you need to go Eagle. You need to be Eagle. And I said, sure, I'll qualify. And again, this is everything before the pandemic. So it's actually during the pandemic. And they were talking about like qualify. My uplines were talking about how fun it was. I was like, okay, I'm going to qualify. I'm going to qualify. I'm going to qualify. And then in 3 months, I was able to build up an Eagle ship. I think I launched 3 people in March, 1 in April, and then one in no, 1 in February, 3 in March, and then 1 in April, and then 1 in May. So I was able to build up my Eagle structure at that time. So I was very excited. And I remember calling my upline at the time too. When I had 4 personal downlines, I don't know what to do next. I was like, what do I do now? And she said, now you know how I feel. Now you know how I feel. So, I had to really learn how to work with a team, because I know how to work with myself as an individual, but I didn't know how to work with a team. So that's where I asked my upline for a lot of help. And as we were kind of building the structure, and Eileen was able to I helped Eileen launch 5 personal legs too. We were on the hunt. We were launching people left and right, and it got to the point where we're one of my biggest goal. So I did qualify for Kalahari, and went qualified for that, and it was really truly inspiring. I learned a lot from Sagin and all the leaders, and then as the months kind of progressed, one of my goals was to hit 4,000 PV. And I will always remember this, because this is probably one of the toughest things that I've ever went to. And even Charlie Durso says this in the talk: the hardest pin to achieve is going from 2,500 PV to 4,000 PV, because it truly tests your character of how badly do you really want the goal done. And I can really attest to that. I don't know about the leaders, but that's just how I personally felt. I felt like 2,500 to 4,000 people was probably the hardest thing to accomplish. But we were able to get that done. This is back in July of 2020. We were able to get that done, achieve it, and the next thing you know, just everything just started to fall apart. And as back then I was I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'm halfway through. I'm almost at halfway to 7,500 PV. My team is growing. My team is expanding. And next thing you know, the team started to fall apart. The moment that, as Phil mentioned before, that my upline left. Once my upline left at the time, the people started to, I had a team of about 11, 12 people, a small group, and we were actually very good at generating PV. So that was a cool thing. But we went from a team of 12 people, 11 to 12 people, back to 1 with Eileen.
Whoa.
Back to Eileen.
11, 12, back to 1.
Back to 1, just like that. And it hurt. I don't think what bothered me was my downlines leaving me, but it was more of like my upline leaving me at the time. Just a lot of a lot of things that were just happening. Not ready for this, not emotionally capable to handle this, right? Like being able to go halfway through, get 4,000 PV, and next thing you know, just fall back and have to start all over again. And I had my team leave me, or I had a lot of people leave me, and then I had my upline leave me, and I started to really question, like, is this business worth it? I already invested a lot of my time and effort and energy into this. Next thing you know, it's just I'm all the way back to square one, you know. But then I remember having a conversation with Boone Q. We went over to Eileen's place in Irvine, and just letting us know what happened. It's like, hey, this is just let you know this is what happened. the upline is no longer here anymore. But just know that we are here for you both. And I think for 3 months I was MIA. I don't say MIA, but like MIA mentally in the business. I still would show up to the meetings, but I wasn't mentally there for the business. And going back to my old ways of like going out, drinking, going clubbing and stuff like that for 3 months. But then I remember looking back and looking at Eileen, and Eileen at that time was 19 years old, and I looked at her and I said, I can't do that. I can't just quit the business and leave somebody that I personally brought into the business and just leave her there, right? With no help and with no guidance. So I said, you know what? Time to man up, time to shut up, time to man up, time to shut up, and time to put in the work. And this is not my uplines team anymore. This is my team now, and it's my responsibility to grow my business because this is my business. And everyone would talk about taking full ownership, and that was the pivotal moment for me. And said, you know what, enough's enough. No more playing games with this. Let's go hard. Let's do this right now. And as we were kind of building up the team, we launched a gentleman named Brandon. We launched a couple people named Beja and Angie. Those are my core leaders right now in the team. And we launched another couple of people, and we actually went platinum together. I think over Zoom, what really helped us was that when it was 2020 and we couldn't really see each other face to face, we really built a close connection via Zoom. We would see each other every single night, just laughing, watching videos together, and just like even going through over some like doing AMs together and everything just to build a close relationship. And then the moment that Boo and Q raised their flag of going Emerald, I remember gathering my team and say, hey guys, Boo and Q want to go Emerald. Do you want to go? You want to do this? And I told them, I was like, but in order for them to go Emerald, I need to go Platinum. And I said, are you guys actually down to try? Like, again, keep in mind the numbers, it was only about 4 or 5 of us at the time. And all of us, Beja, Angie, Brandon, and Eileen, they said, yeah, sure, let's try. Again, all the odds were against us. We did not have the numbers, we did not have the PV, we did not have anything. But because we unified ourselves with our upline and our upline's goal and wanting to play a big part in that, we were able to finish platinum ship qualification with only 8 people, right? And
eight, like
8 people, yeah.
And they're still here today.
3 of the 8 people. So it's myself, Eileen, Brandon, Beja, and Angie. So 5 people, and then those other 3 people who were with us in the journey are no longer in the business. But that's okay for me, because I remember Ali saying that the people who help you go platinum are not going to be the same people who help you go Q12, Sapphire, and Emerald. And that was just something that I really understood about it. So I didn't really attach myself to anybody, but to my goal. And I think that's what Vu has always taught me. Don't attach yourself to any person, right? Because they may go, they may quit the business, but always remember to stay focused on attach yourself to your personal goal. And they had a crucial conversation with us saying, like, if you don't make platinum, it's totally fine. As long as you it's okay to change the date, but it's not okay to change the goal. But going through the platinum ship, yeah, there was about 8 of us that went through it, that accomplished it. Big shout outs to Eileen, big shout outs to Brandon, Asia, and Angie. Like, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know how we did it, but we did it. I remember we were in constant communication with each other. Hey, my downlines would text me, say, hey, where are you? How much PV do you need left? How can we contribute to the goal? What can we do to help you go platinum? And the first month, I remember Eileen's team, so Eileen and Brandon played a big role, reaching 7,500 PV for the first time. And we got super excited about it. Everyone played a big role in that. And then the next couple, so I would say the first 2 months, Eileen and Brandon played a big role in the platinum show qualification. And then the 3rd and 4th month, Beja's team, so Beja and Angie played a big role. I think the first 2 months, Eileen broke 2,500, Brandon broke 1,500. Angie broke 1,500, and Beja broke 2,500. And then we also had, I had other downlines, so it accumulated all the way up to 7,500. But I would say Eileen and Brandon played a big role in my silver ship, and Eileen and Brandon played a big role in my gold ship. And I remember, I just want to give a big shout out to Brandon right now. So Eileen has been very loyal. So Eileen, I know, again, Eileen has a very special place in my heart because she's that running buddy with me. But Brandon, he played a big role in my gold ship, because I think I was lacking maybe 1,200 PV. I was contacting my customers and everything, like to see if I could make some upcoming follow sales and everything like that. And then I remember me and Brandon were on a Zoom call, and he asked me, he's like, "Oh, how much PV are you away?" And I think at that time I was like maybe 600 away. And again, 600 PV seems like a lot after you do it seems like a lot after you do a lot of like stretching yourself. And next thing you know, he's like, okay, just let me know what your plan is. And I say, okay, I'm going to be reaching out to my customers. And next thing you know, he says, hey, Mikey, I want you to check your screen right now, or check your website. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. And next thing you know, 703 PV, 7,503 PV, I believe. And I was like, who did PV? Like, who did that? And he said, and then it's like, I did. And I was like, Brandon, you did that? I was like, you didn't have to do that. Why'd you like push yourself for that? And he's like, I really wanted to help you go gold. And at that moment, I wanted to cry.
Wow.
I wanted to cry because that was the halfway mark of platinum ship too. And I said, Brandon, I don't care what I have to do, but I'm gonna make sure I help you go platinum, because you did this for me. I want to make sure that I help you grow a large team, And now Brandon, he's on a launching spree. He has so many people in the pipeline. He's launching people left and right. So Brandon has, again, not only is Eileen a loyal person, but also Brandon. And then the next following months, big shout out to Beijing and Angie. Big shout out to Beijing and Angie. They were able to pull it off. How I kind of saw my platinum ship was like a relay race. You know what I mean? You have like three people. You have like four different sets of people, right, of different runners. And I would say that Beige and Angie were the trump card. They were the ones that actually closed it off, right? Eileen and Brandon set off the pace. They were the ones that started the platinum ship qualification, technically speaking. And next thing you know, once that leg started to slow down a bit, Beige and Angie were there to actually pick up and finish it off in the race, and that's when I finally understood why, having multiple legs is such a very important thing to do. Build your structure, go BFI, go BBI, go Eagle, right? But I remember a funny story about Angie is I remember I think this is the 4th month, and I think I was lacking 1,500 PV. Again, I don't know how much you did, but I was lacking 1,500 PV. And next thing you know, we were at Boon Q's house, like in our headquarters, like trying to game plan, trying to contact customers and everything like that too. And then next thing you know, I refreshed my page, and then boom, 7,500. I was like, who the heck just did this much amount of PV? And then I look over, I see Angie like twiddling on her computer, on her laptop, just like shaking her legs and saying, it's like, oh, I did. And I was like, you did? Or like, what did you do? All this stuff. It's like, oh, I made some sales to some customers. I got some products that I know I'm going to use for next month, so I can sell to my future customers as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we're in the hunt right now. Everybody's like playing a big role in it too. And another person I want to shout out is Beja too. I think me and Beja are very similar, where we both started the business very, very slow. But the one thing that I really appreciate Beja so much is her loyalty. She did express to me like, hey, Mikey, I may not be your fastest growing leg. I may not be the fastest, person to work with, but I will always prove my loyalty to my upline, and because her and I shared a very similar story, where her upline, which is my downline, quit the business too, and I told, hey, Beja, just because so and so left the business, that doesn't mean that I'm going to leave you too. And I think because we stay loyal to each other, we were able to get the platinum ship done. Now, again, I don't know how we did it, but we know why we did it, and it was to play a big role in Boon Q's Emerald Chip, so that we can have them share their story and impact as many people as they can. And I also just want to give a shout out to Roxy, because I honestly couldn't have done that as well, to having that running buddy, knowing that she was with me doing running for platinum ship as well. And every time we would get recognized on the leadership group, the group chats, I got recognized first, and then in the back of my head, I'm like, "Where's Roxy? Where's Roxy? Where's Roxy? Where's Roxy? Where's Roxy?" And next thing you know, Roxy pops up. And that's why I have a lot of respect for Roxy, because for her to commit so early into the business, not that many IBOs are willing to do so, but she showed her commitment to that. And she's been a huge inspiration for my team. And she has played a big role in my story too. Because if I didn't have that friendly competition, I'm not sure if I would be. I'm not sure if I would beat platinum right now, because that added that extra fuel to my fire. If you know what I mean. So, but yeah, we didn't let failure get to our hearts. Yeah, we didn't let what was that? What's that one quote we would always say? Don't let success get into your head, and also don't let failure get into your heart. And I think throughout that journey, I didn't let any of that stuff want to get to me too. So, but hopefully that answered your question, Phil.
Whoa, that was so inspiring. I mean,
Wow.
man, because there's so many people here, looking at the structure, looking at their number of people they have, and looking at themselves, they don't have the belief that the goal could be done. And hearing your story, how you just did it all, just how you and there's only Eileen staying back with you, and you start everything back again with 8 people, and all of the struggle you went through that took away all the excuses most people have. Um, we do have a third session, but I'm just so tempting to just shut it down and just let everybody just want to hear your story, because I still have a lot of questions want to ask you. And so probably we're just not going to have a third session if you don't mind. I mean, I want to have as many people to listen to your story as possible. I mean, I still want to ask, you know, Eileen and just curious of how you guys have been so loyal. Just stay back. I mean, I just heard how you guys creating that bond, just from that all that stranger came together in one team, and just that brotherhood and that family and the fighting and all for one for all. And I'm here. I got your back. Once I committed, I mean, sometimes your dollars want you to go platinum more than you even want to go for yourself, and that's when you know that this goal there's impossible to not get it done, right? So I don't know how everybody, do you guys get excited to hear more? I'm sure you guys have questions, right? I mean, some of you guys are still the candidates in the process. But I mean, I can't get my eyes off the screen, and I mean, it's never getting tired hearing from you your story. I mean, it's just so inspiring and it's so relatable. Like all of us have exactly the same problem. I mean, we have the exact same problems, and I think you just showed up at the very good time, at the right time, and right place, and right person, because it's about the time that we about to run for gold, brand new platinum, brand new Q12. Um, so yeah, I mean, why don't we just have a few people maybe raise your hand? Maybe we could just get some of you guys to raise your hand if you guys do have questions for Mikey or maybe his team. But I do want to really ask a couple people from your team. Angie, I talked to her, Go Devon Weekend, great job. She was a brand new Eagle at that time, and I'm sure Eileen had a couple tips on volume. You guys have figured things out, right? I mean, 1,000 to 2,000 PV. Kind of want to get your story out to hear how you figure it out, that volume things. And I'm sure now that it's about to come to her due date, and you guys hold the fort, and you keep the business, growing, even when your uplies are not there. So I appreciate you've done your part, because I did my part a few years ago. So now I count on you guys. As much as I want to contribute to their, EDC and emerald, I've done my best. Now I just want to count on Roxy and Mikey and a couple other front lines, and you know, but great job, guys. However, I want to ask, so Eileen, I know you're in the Zoom, and G2. If I can kind of hear a little bit about your Mikey, do you mind if I ask them some question? You
For
good
it.
with that?
Yeah, go for it. I think Brandon is also here and Beija's here too.
Yeah. We could spotlight all of them.
Yeah.
Beja, Brandon, what I kind of want to know. I mean, especially Eileen, you guys. I think she's been around for a little while, because I remember her name. And she was one of the Phil winners that stay back and stay till the end after all. So I want to ask you what would be the reasons despite so many people left the team, you're still loyal, you stay through thick and thin, and despite all that hardship and adversity, I think I remember you as a UCI student, and at that time you didn't have a car, you didn't have a car to drive to the meeting, but you managed to always show up. And um, can we get to know you a little bit about that? Because I believe that story is going to inspire many, many people. Right? Who's excited to hear from Eileen? Everybody still awake? Post some skills. Right.
Go!
All right. Yeah. So go ahead, Eileen.
All right. Thank you so much, Philly. I honestly didn't expect to speak at all. I'm just here to support Mikey. But thank you, Philly. You're honestly such an inspiration to me and my team. My team talks about you all the time. Dylan, my cousin, he's just always about Philly. He has you as his like background and all. He's obsessed with you. So thank you so much, Philly. And I'm surprised that you even remember what school I go to. But yeah, honestly, when it came to Mikey and his platinum ship and all of that, it really was about being grateful that he helped me so much as an upline, as a friend, as a big brother. Um, I've always wanted a big brother growing up, and for him to come in my life at the age of 18 when I was super lost at the time. I was a pre-med, but I decided, forget about it because there's too much debt. I have so many cousins that are doctors and all of that. And yeah, they have the money, they have the nice houses, nice cars, but do they have the lifestyle that I want for my future? Of course not. So I decided to look somewhere else, and Mikey was the person to introduce me to this amazing business opportunity. And from there, I decided to stick by because just by so much, he's dedicated so much of his time and energy to really help me. And I was just really appreciative of that. And maybe it's just the person I am, I guess. I don't know if it makes any sense that I'm a Leo. My zodiac sign is a Leo. And so they're known to be loyal. Maybe it's that, but jokes aside, I just am really appreciative of Mikey, and that's why I decided to stick by. Yeah.
Oh, Phil, you're muted.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's excellent. And I heard stories how you students and go to school and you had to handle many credits, but like volume was something, wasn't something that your best strength at the very beginning. But I heard that you generate over 1,000 personal volume or something. Those kind of story. Was that real? Is that myth, or is that?
Yeah. So definitely during Mikey's, platinum ship, I just went like super hard. Like even though it was during COVID, I didn't let that stop me because there was nothing else to do anyways. So except to go to school and just just sit at home. So I decided to just hit up anyone I could like through social media. And then once COVID started dying down, which was during Mikey's platinum ship, I just went door to door with me and Brandon would just like knock on everybody's door at UCI and just like sampling excess. And that's how like I got, Brandon got 1,500 PV done, 2,500.
Brandon,
Yes, person.
1,500 PV. Man, that's not a joke. Brandon, you got to show us how to make money. Those of you guys don't drop out from school, even though 1,500 PV. Geez, that's a whole lot of cash. Wow. And Eileen, you did like about over 1,000 PV too.
Yep, it was just me and him at the time. So we just really wanted Mikey to go to platinum. So we did it. And Angie and Beja too.
Can I add something, Phil? Can I add something with
Is
that?
it? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So that wasn't Eileen's and Brandon's first time going 1,000 PV. The first time Eileen actually went 1,000 PV was during when I was qualifying for 4,000 PV for the first time. And I remember I've been setting that kind of goal, 4,000, but just never, it was just so far for me. I would hit like 2,700 PV, 3,000 PV. It was just so far from me. And I remember my upline at the time called me, asked me, hey, how was your goal, that month? And I said, to be honest with you, I'll probably just get 2,500 PV. And that was back in July of 2020. And, she's talking to me, this and this and that. And then I don't know what she said to Eileen. I don't know what she said to Eileen because originally Eileen's goal that month was, I believe, like 300 PV, group PV. And next thing you know, I receive a phone call. And next thing you know, I receive a phone call and she says, hey, Mikey, I did it. And I was like, what did you do? I finished my goal. I hit 1,000 PV. And I was like, you hit 1,000 PV? What'd you do? Like, why? Like, what'd you do? And she said, oh, I just wanted to help you get your goal. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully, because at that time, she had 5 downlines, but 3.5 weren't really doing anything. And she had 1 downline that maybe only did like 10 PV. And so she just committed to the team goal of hitting 4,000 PV. And because I saw that, because Eileen, my downline, fought for her upline, which is me, I said, you know what? I'm gonna fight for my upline as well too, because this was like a prime example of like the power of unity and the power of submission. That to take your eyes off of yourself and put it onto somebody else. So, but so.
You guys really exemplify that willpower of a human being. Like once we want something so bad, we set our mind to it. This is everything. It's just possible. Man, that you guys have even more 1,000 personal PV than we break 100 PV. Wow, this is incredible. I mean, I got so inspired. I mean, Eileen and Brandon, and then also NG and Beja and Roxy. You guys are like PV manufacturer, like machine PV machine, right? Jeff and Stella is about to go for their platinum ship, and Jeff, you're gonna start in March, in April, something like that.
March.
So this month.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, Jeff, you go ahead. You ask some questions. Figure out the volume. I suck at volume, so this is
I'm the one who's
my life savior.
traveling to SoCal just to learn from these guys. I remember being outside of Tina Corn asking Eileen, like, how the heck do you sell Satnic or something like that? Do you remember that, Eileen? I just remember like just learning from you guys because not even my strong suit. I'm learning from my downline how to do products too. And then
I think they have some sort of a requirement to get launched. They have a different process. Like you need to look good. You need to have a good hair, good skin. You need products ambassador. I think we need to add that into our process, Jeff, because people in our team they don't want to be a good product ambassador. So we got to add that in.
Yeah,
these guys are good looking.
One first.
We still have to catch up to you, Phil. Your numbers are crazy. You guys are killing. You guys are setting the right example for us. So we're trying to catch up to you guys. So we're trying to catch up to Jeff and Stella. We're trying to catch up. But yeah.
Absolutely. Anything we love, we can share for you guys. But Jeff, Angie, Beja, Roxy, could you give us some tips on how did you guys figure out a volume? Because we got a lot of students here. I think I don't think it's something to do with capability. I don't think it's capability problem. It's more of the belief. It's more of the figure things out. It's I think they have that potential to generate thousands, 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 PV. No hassle, no problems. But I think it's all about the belief. It reminded me of the story how the elephant was tied up by a tiny little string. And what separated you guys was because you guys believe that you guys are capable of generate that much volume. So, I mean, Jeff, you have a question? Go ahead.
I think my question stems from just a month or two ago. We were at the recreation center in SoCal, and I think what really exemplifies this whole team and now Mikey's leadership is wherever there is weakness, there's always a team that backs you up. And I see you guys have a lot of beauty breaks. You work together. You guys are always gathering. There's fun. There's business. Everything's all about the family feel, but you growing together too. And so I was just curious, like, how did you guys like the idea of the beauty breaks or something to do things at the schools to create volume and back each other up? Like, what does that process look like when you're running those events, and how did you guys start those?
Yeah, very creative. They're very super
Yeah,
creative, resourceful. Yeah.
Um, let me see. Does anybody want to like Angie? And I know Angie and Angie is the one who kind of kickstarted it. So Vu would actually kind of introduced like having the idea of beauty breaks. So we started really implementing a lot of grand openings as well for the new IBO. Like for example, a lot of Eileen's downlines in depth. We've launched about 5 people in Victorville. So that's about an hour and a half away from SoCal, from Anaheim. And we're planning to have a grand opening. So I think what we try to do is we try to have an event every single month. Like try to create a consistent volume. Maybe having one a beauty break a month, a grand opening once a month, just to kind of get the momentum keep going too. So, but yeah, Angie, if you want to answer that question.
If I can get some numbers, some stats from those kind of events, like um, numbers of candidates, I'm sorry, numbers of customer being invited, PV generated, any sales, you guys, some good story, something that scare the people here a little bit, because sometimes they start celebrating making 100 PV from event. We
ratio, like if you know you confirm 5 guests, like 5 guests that show up, like on average, how much PV do you make?
First of all, thank you so much. I didn't expect to be speaking tonight, just like Eileen said. Great questions. It's an honor to be up here. I feel like I need to be learning from you guys, so this is kind of crazy to be on the other side of it. But well, I think the first thing is grand openings. I think it's really important to get new people started right. I know for one of my downlines, Yesenia, in her first month of the business, we held a grand opening just really for her family to show up. And at that time, only her dad's side of the family could attend because the mom's side of the family had like an event going on. And in that grand opening alone, just by bringing products and doing like product expo and demonstrations of how like the vitamins work, we were able to generate 150 PV in her first month. And then so the second month, we said, okay, now let's do your mom's side of the family because they didn't get to come. And she's Hispanic like me, so we come from very, very big families. And just in the amount of people that attended, I think it was like close to almost 20 people in her mom's side of the family, just like cousins and like aunts and stuff. We were able to take her from 150 to 300 PV. So I think making sure that you get people who are new started off right, it really builds the belief in the business, and they're also able to see the income quickly and early on, and that helps them think like, wow, like this business actually works. So I think that's something really important to do first, and then afterwards it just becomes fun, and they want to do more stuff. So that's when you can do like more product, nice picture, Brandon, more product expos and beauty breaks. So for me, I was able to leverage doing beauty breaks at the university that I graduated from, Cal State East Bay, because while I attended, I was in a sorority. So I was able to leverage the network that I already had existing to come back as an alumni and pair up with my sorority to do it as like an event that they were hosting. So we're known as like the Sunnies on campus. So they call it Sunny Self-Care Sunday. And we have it when we do the event, we do it on a Sunday, and then they promote it on their social media, and then all the students see it. They post it around the campus. And then before the event, the day of, my sisters go door to door to invite like the freshmen and everyone who lives on campus, since it's held on the campus space. And I'm so thankful for all of my crossline and my team that comes to help me set it up and perform it. Roxy has come every single time, and she's helped me with the facials, and we just go, we set it up. We're giving facials as we're talking to them. We either DTM. I know that Beja has even like walked someone through the process and got a launch from one of my beauty breaks. And we also sell products. So my first beauty break that I had, I was really nervous because I didn't know what the turnout was going to be. From the numbers that I had pre-confirmed, it looks like about 20 people were going to attend, and 40 people actually came. So that was really great. In the front, I put a sign up sheet with the person's name who walked in and their phone number. So then that list at the end of the night, I'm able to keep it as how many people showed up to the event, and also use that list as contacts for customer sales and saying, hey, thanks so much for coming to my event. Like, how are you? Any feedback? Did you like it? Are you interested in any of the products? And that's when they'll be like, yeah, I was actually color matched with the foundation. They said, I'm this color. Do you have the shade available? And I'm like, yeah, definitely. And it just helps produce more sales that way. My very first beauty break was, I think we did from there. It's been really good. And I think that's all I have to share. But yeah.
Did you have any sales background before that, or was that something that you got trained, or you got it from the book or from an audio, or anybody taught you that, or it was something that you figured out?
No, I did not have a background in it at all. I was actually a pre-nursing student in college. So nursing and business, they don't really mix. It was more so the fact that I had read Go Giver. I feel like, or Go Giver Sell More. The both of those books, Go Giver and Go Giver Sell More, I feel like they really help shape your mindset in terms of looking at selling from a different way. And I think anytime you start to feel like you're scamming somebody because you're like pushing a product on them, you have totally the wrong mindset. If you read that book, it totally fixes it for you, and you see it from a perspective of you're helping people. You know, people have skincare concerns. Their face is their first impression on the world. So it's really important for them to like have a nice smile, have nice skin, have good hair. And that's all things that you can help people with. Like, you're selling them a product, but they're gaining confidence from that. So I think looking at it from a different perspective. And if you have questions, I'm pretty sure you know like a lot of talks that can help. There is a talk on BSM about how to host beauty breaks by, I think it's Francis Papalardo. So if you haven't listened to it, I definitely help me produce my success and following my upline and with the help of my crossline too.
Absolutely.
I want to ask a question that I think I've heard a lot from people around, but do you ever have the concern of like someone or being on campus and bringing Amway products and they're worried that, oh, that it's going to spread, there'll be rumors, you know, they're going to know that you're building a business and like you get kicked out of the campus or something? How did you handle that?
Well, personally for me, I'm not ashamed of the business. I feel like you also have to feel proud of what you're in. You are part of a very big opportunity, and you're partnered with a billion-dollar company, and you're not doing anything wrong or illegal. This business is totally legal. Otherwise, like, you know, the authorities would have found out a long time ago. So I think a lot of it has to do with the confidence that you have in the business that you're running, and the company that you're partnered with. I've had people recognize the products, but everyone who's recognized it was like, oh yeah, like I had this back in India and this is so cool. Like, can I place this order? Do you have the vitamins? Like, I know at John's most recent beauty break, he didn't sell any beauty products. He sold all Amway Home because people just recognize the brand, you know? So it's not a bad company. And I think just recognizing that and realizing like, wow, this is dope, and just believing it, you know?
All right. If I was to be your customer, I would have bought everything you had recommended, because your genuineness, your authenticity, you guys all sound like one of those Amway staff representatives that doing the Amway Expo. That every time I'm going to the Amway Achievers or one of the Amway Expo, I mean, you guys look like the people behind the booth, you know, the selling people. I mean, it's very professional, and you know, you guys are on the cutting edge. You guys know what you're talking about. Then it's very confident. I mean, I can't do the same thing. You never see me do the demo. I struggle. I stutter. I look like 100 PV when it comes to PV. But anyway, I mean, that's why I'm taking note now. You guys are a pro in this, right? And I kind of want to hear from also Beza and Roxy too, and Brandon too. But thank you, Angie, Aline. You guys are share your heart out. Thank you so much for all the sharing. Everybody here, you guys learned something?
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Yeah. Let's go. Okay, so yeah, I think Beisha and Roxy, you guys could share a little bit about the PV standard. If you guys are what do you guys think about why it's so important to have that core volume standard as an IBO. Like a lot of people kind of underestimate the volume aspect, the product aspect, because they are just try to get in and self grow. But at the end of the day, I believe it's something that go hand in hand. It's the performance that come along with the education. You can't just get educated, but you got to really take the action, right? Yeah. What's your take on what do you think about that aspect, Roxy or Beja or Brandon? Any one of you talk about the volume standard or
Ủa bánh để đâu
PV
chị?
standard. Why would it's so important? Because I don't even think you guys are
À,
stop at 150 PV core volume, because why would you want to have that limit? Just because somebody recommend 150 PV core volume, then we wouldn't necessarily get stuck at that point,
Yeah,
right?
the core volume fill, they added an extra zero. It's like minimum 1500 PV core volume.
And yeah, if you can also add 2 0, that will make you Ruby too, right? Everybody feel see it's what I like about these people. It's they think like an entrepreneur. They wouldn't stop at what people recommend,
Mm.
and not at what the average people do. I mean, people talk about the average income that you can earn through Amway is at $200, but why would you see yourself as an average person, right? And they don't get Wu and Q permission to go beyond 150. That's what I love about that. Yeah, but go ahead, guys. We're excited to hear from you guys. Anybody is like to take the mic?
Yes, of course.
I can go. Brandon, do you want to go?
Roxy.
You can go first, Roxy.
Okay, just because I feel like what Phil just said. Thank you, by the way, Phil, for bringing all of us up. This is Mikey's night. I don't know what I'm doing up here, but I'm totally here to support and just tell you guys how amazing Mikey is, but also share my tips. Like Phil was just saying, 150 is like our standard. Obviously, like we all know that, but I think since the first month that I got launched in August of 2020. So like 1 or 2 months before Beja, and then like a couple months before Angie and Brandon, I had the same upline that quit as Mikey. So me and Mikey were cross-lined still, but we shared that common upline that quit. And what she basically was teaching me through the process and everything, and after I got launched, was the same thing. Our standard is 150 PV. So that's kind of what I started with. But I don't know what it was. Maybe it's like having like a business background. My family has the business, like a conventional business. So I grew up around that, kind of knowing how to run a restaurant and all like the ins and outs of that. And I was always interested in business, but this was finally my turn to like actually have my own business and like do whatever I could with it. So I just treated it like a student would. I treated it as like, okay, I don't know what any of these products are. I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to just ask a bunch of questions. And I bugged my upline so much about all of the products. And I would FaceTime her for hours on end, asking her, okay, like show me the makeup products. Like, oh, I want to try this. I want to do this. And we were just up all the time. And we started building that relationship through the products at first, because it's a business. You're not your only customer. That was like my thing. I was like, okay, it's not a business if I'm like my only customer. I have to get out of my comfort zone and start sharing these products with other people too. And so I started off by setting up my Ditto right away. I hit 150 PV super quick. I want to say within the first, day of launching my business, just because I was like, I need to try these first. And I also got COVID with my family that same time that I got launched. Luckily, my products got there really quick. So I started taking the vitamins and I was able to, recover within 3 days, I think, of like getting COVID. My symptoms were like gone by then, but we were still in quarantine. So I took all of that time to basically just share the products with my family and do whatever I could when you're in quarantine. You text people, you call people, you just do whatever you can from home. So I started sharing how it helped me get over COVID and help my immune system. And I started getting calls left and right from family who were like, oh, I heard you have vitamins. Oh, I heard that helped you. And so then even my mom started helping me, and she started saying, okay, yeah, your aunt wants this, your cousin wants this. Oh yeah, they also said that they know Nutrilite and they want to know if you have Satinique, the hair care products too. So it kind of started growing from there. And like I think Angie said earlier, somebody said it earlier, you want to start off your new IBO very like well.
right? You want to make sure that they are seeing the potential of the business, especially the income aspect. It's a business, you know, don't be scared to learn about your products and to invest a little bit in there. And it just kind of kept growing. I want to say I hit 500 PV by like the middle of the month. And that's when I started realizing that why not go a little bit bigger, right? And I think I heard them say, oh, she's close to getting the believer pin, right? I think it was someone in the messenger group chat. I don't know who it was. I don't even know if they're still in the business, but somebody said that. And I was like, oh, what is that? What's a believer pin? Like, I don't understand what that is. And they were like, oh yeah, when you hit 1,000 PV, you get this little pin and it says like 1,000 PV on it. And I was like, okay, I'm there. I'm gonna get it. I just because I wanted the pin. I don't know if it comes from like school, like you want to get that recognition or you want to just like get something physical to know that you are improving. And so that's why I kept going. And I think because I was able to see that so early on in the business, it didn't limit my capacity or my belief in myself. I was able to do that on my own, but at the same time it just kind of started growing from there. I do help Angie with her events that she has up here. Because of her events, I've actually been able to, like, I think the last one we had was like 2 weeks ago. I invited 5 people, like 5 students from Berkeley. They all went. I registered 4 of them as customers. One of them is in the process right now. I was able to make, I want to say, like 100 PV in sales from them. And I'm getting referrals at the same time. One of the customers that I registered actually lives a couple blocks from me, and his apartment's way nicer than mine. So that means that they have like, well, I mean by nicer, it's like it has a little lounge area and like a rooftop. And so that's like, he said that I can use his apartment as like our next beauty break location in Berkeley. So I started like networking, even though he's not an IBO, even though he's like, not interested in the business, it's still like, the networking aspect that's super important. So I'm like planning to have beauty breaks consistently in Berkeley as well. For my students out there, don't be scared to talk to other students. I know it can get a little bit scary if you get in your head about it. You don't want people to like bring negativity. I've had people like tell me a lot of stuff, like messages and everything, but it's really all about your confidence. Again, that what you're doing is legal, and that you're just trying to help people. And even though they don't know your intentions, just keep doing what you're doing. Because again, it's going to help a lot of people, whether it's with the products or with the opportunity. But yeah, I think that's everything I want to share. Thank you so much.
Roxy,
Wow, oh my God.
Can you share a little bit, like, how does that conversation start from when you first meet them? You said you're networking a little bit to find customers. Like, what does that look like?
Roxy, you're muted.
Sorry. Thank you. Sometimes it's like I start off by just being friends with them in class. If I'm like not really sure how the person will react to, business, right? Because I'm a legal studies major, so we're not really businessy people, or not everybody is like in my classes. I kind of just start off by like the beginning of the semester, or even like weeks after, getting as many contacts as possible and just saying, hey, like I'm looking to like make a study group, do you have a phone number or even an Instagram, right? Like, so that way we can talk about, the class, or if you miss class, I'd be happy to share my notes with you, that kind of thing. Just making more friends, because every single semester I have new classes and like an endless amount of people that I can, get access to, like a new list basically. So I start off kind of like that, and then I'll work like more friendly conversations into it, to where I'm like, asking them more about their major, their future plans, everything, asking them if they're interested in business. If they're not, then I kind of tell them about my plans. Hey, yeah, I'm a legal studies major, but I also run my own business on the side. I'd love it if you could support my business in any way, shape, or form. I'd love to, give you some samples, or just kind of talk about anything that I can help you with through my products. And then I'll also refer them to any beauty breaks or events that we're having in NorCal. If they're nearby and if they can come, then obviously they do. And we used to do like our success workshops, and I would get candidates like that as well. So that's just basically how I do it. If it's like I DTM them and they're interested in business, I put them through the process. If they're not interested in business, then I kind of just ask them like, or let them know like I have a bunch of products and I would appreciate their support, right? Because this is something I'm doing on top of running, or I'm on top of pursuing my degree. And I usually just mention things like free samples, or just sitting and like, going out to study and bringing energy drinks or snacks, things that I feel like would help them as a student. Or I mentioned like, yeah, these are really popular products that I sell to a lot of students on campus actually. And it's like, even if it's like my friends who are like buying them, if I don't have like a lot of like, students that I'm selling them to, I'm just like, oh yeah, like a lot of college students really like these products. I think you'd be interested. And people are usually open to trying things or even to just supporting me by like referring me other customers. So that's kind of how the conversation usually goes.
Wow.
And if I could
Sounds
add,
like it sounds like it was a prepared presentation today.
It was not prepared at all.
The way you guys talk.
if I
It's-
could add, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted after just hearing Roxy talk and everybody speak so far, and you guys did an amazing job. I think that one thing that Vu and Q have always taught us is that it's okay to start small, but it's not okay to stay small. And I think they really emphasize pushing us to do more than just the minimums and go and try to stretch your capacity. And I think one thing that there also teaches about having heart is I learned this from a diamond. I forgot what talk it was, but everyone has a heart, but not everybody has heart for the business too. And I think all of us, we chose to have a heart for the business. So, but yeah, sorry to cut you off though. Go ahead back.
That's deep. I cannot get to that deep level yet.
You're deeper. What the heck? I need to learn from you.
Love it. Yeah, you guys are so good at keeping some of your candidates at customer, even when they don't find this, they don't have any interest for the business, and some of them probably quit the business, but they continue to consume and use our products. Did anybody have a good story about that? Like how you continue to convert people, candidates, IBOs to customer? It's something that we struggle with. You can shine some light on that.
Eileen, I think you had a couple of customer ex IBOs.
I actually have an existing IBO, Brandon. So the story goes, me and Mikey, we did MG1 with Brandon. And then, he, he had his birthday coming up that I didn't know about. So he ended up saying, actually never mind. I don't think I'll be able to handle it. And so at the time I thought that he was not going to do the business anymore. So I decided to just hit him up back up, even though he said no to the opportunity at the time. I was like, you know what, might as well have this be the perfect opportunity to introduce skincare, because I noticed that he was talking about skincare during the MG1. And so I asked him, so I noticed that you mentioned about your skin. Do you have any problems? Just asking him about if he had any health problems or, skincare problems. And then he answered me, he's like, yes, I actually do. And then so I suggest him some products. And then he came back to me and was like, actually, I'm interested in the opportunity again. So this is a very unique story. But at the same time, what I always do is make it a habit now to, even if somebody says no throughout the process and with the opportunity, it's always another opportunity in terms of converting them to a customer. And you already built that some type of relationship with them through that MG1 already. So they have some sort of trust with you. So, don't be afraid to just send that text, just following them up with them, continue being building that connection with them. What Vu taught me was to never burn down any bridges, because everyone that you meet can either be somebody, maybe your potential business partner or a customer, or maybe none at all. But either way, you're still introducing your business to somebody and putting value into somebody else's lives. So, yeah.
Whoa, that's excellent. I'm wondering, where did your upline find you guys? I need to go to the same spot and I need to find people like this. This is so sharp. You guys cut my finger. I mean, it's too sharp. Yeah, I mean, I know we've been taking some time. Facebook. Okay, I'll make sure everybody search up for Eileen. That's your first name. You look up for people with first name Eileen or Angie. These are sharp people.
You guys can get the first name. I'll search the last name.
Yeah, last name too. You guys write their name down. Tonight we're gonna bombard Facebook, Linton. Search for these guys. Don't search for Phil Lee. This guy cannot even handle 150 PV. Um, yeah. But Beisha, Brandon, anything you guys like to add on? I know you guys been humble. Just don't be humble tonight. Be humble
okay.
tomorrow.
All right, first off, hats off to you, Phil. You are one of my biggest inspirations. And honestly, just, like I've only been in the business for a little over 2 years, but I've seen your work ethic, and literally everyone tells me about how hard you've worked. We look up to you a lot. Me and my current down, I think she's here, Saparna, but yeah, we look up to you. So I just kind of wanted to say that first. I didn't want to steal the spotlight from Mikey, but I think what I wanted to talk about on top of what all the ladies have shared here tonight is like the 150 PV standard, right? It's not a standard where you reach 150 and then that's line. I think that because Mikey's team of 8 people at that time, we were able to go platinum was because Mikey set the standard high for all of us to duplicate that, right? I think Mikey was doing 2,000 to 3,000 PV personally. So as a result of that, Eileen, Angie, Beja, and like we just followed suit. We ran out of gas halfway through, right? But then Angie's team or Beja's team took over after that. And they basically completed the rest of Mikey's platinum ship. And I think one of the biggest reasons why we wanted Mikey to go platinum was because, well, during his gold trip, thank you for sharing that, by the way, Mike. I appreciate it. But the reason why we wanted you to go platinum was because you have access to better education. You have better Ollie, Sugi, potentially Kumar, right? We want you to have a higher pin so that at least all of that information can trickle down to us. Because if we don't get there, like what is it? We're not going to have access to that information. So if you can actually have that information and apply it for yourself, it will duplicate onto your team. So that's why I think that the 150 PV standard is just a standard, but you can go any more than that, beyond that, because it's like you're setting the bar not just for your uplines to kind of recognize you. I don't think any of us do that or do our volume for that reason, but we do it for our future teams. Like you're the prototype,
That's
Yeah,
that's
all I
amazing.
wanted to say.
Wow. Woo. Yes, Beisha, we still want to hear from you. Do not hide any secret. We know where you live. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, audible.
Okay, awesome. Just before I get started, I just want to say thank you. Not the type of person that likes not doesn't like to be spotlighted,
Nào
but
là cũng ok, con
okay,
mập mập này.
anything for upline.
My upline của con mập mập á.
But thank
Còn
you so much,
Angie.
Philly, again for having us,
Angie mới
and
có
Jessica
21
and
tuổi.
everybody, and Jeff and Stella. It's absolutely amazing to be up here, especially with all of my cross lines. You guys are all super inspiring, and especially you, Phil. You're super inspiring. It's same with Brandon. Your work ethic is crazy, and I hope to continue learning from you and continue being inspired. I mean, you guys are going diamond this year, so super excited for you guys. But yeah, I think for me, I typically like to keep things straight and to the point. But I think all I have to say pretty much, because everybody pretty much said everything that was needed to be said, which is why I like going last, I'm just kidding. But I think one thing definitely is everybody here in this meeting, every single person, especially everybody in the NorCal video, everybody has a unique ability for themselves. Everybody has the ability to be creative. You don't have to be, even if, no matter what field you're in, no matter who you are, no matter what you do or how you grew up, everybody is creative in this Zoom meeting or in this world. Yes, it may be difficult to find that ability that you have or even your strength, but at the end of the day, if you just keep looking and you actually find the strength that you need in order to maximize your PV, build your team, keep you motivated in doing this business, and or maybe even get out of the fears that you have in the present, you can actually be something great. And and I'm also saying this to myself, you know, because there's still a lot for me to learn, especially from everybody in this Zoom meeting. But yeah, I think the most important thing is to find that number one strength in you that you have in order to actually do great things and to actually be able to have the ability to learn a lot and you know, like I said, just build a big team and actually get to know everybody and get to know everybody's stories and you know continue with that motivation. I think that's a one big thing that can actually help you to continue growing and growing that PV volume. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so far. It's been a great inspiration. I took all the spotlight from these guys to ask the questions. I think just one last questions from anybody's in here before we wrap it up for a night. So far it's been a great session. Everybody agree with me so far? It's so informative, right? So
Amazing.
so we have Van Lee. You go ahead. Van did the 600 PV for the past 2 to 3 months in a row, and she has 4 to 5 candidates at the ball plant today. And I mean, she looks up to you guys a lot. She's been bombarding me with texts say, "Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?" for the past 5 hours. So I'm pretty sure she would not leave me alone if I'm not letting her ask the questions. And so I'm just doing this for my own safety. So go ahead, Van. I know you have questions.
Own safety.
Well, thank you, Phil, so much, and like as well as Mikey and like everyone in your team and Roxy to be here with us tonight. You know, it's like totally a blessing for our whole team. And I have this question for Roxy, my UC buddy, because I know you did a lot of PV personal, right? And also like helping your downline to do the same thing. And as a UC student, I just have that question of how do you do that? Like having beauty breaks after beauty breaks at a UC. Because for me, I would go retelling at my school, but most people they're okay with like getting bundles like that, but they're not like really interested into getting skincare products. And so, how do you develop long-term clients with your friends?
Yeah, great question. What UC do you go to?
Davis, not too far from Berkeley.
Okay, so I had a team here in Berkeley, still building it. But in Davis, I do have a downline over there. His name's Rohan. So Mikey has a big Davis team there too. But the way that I know they've done it with beauty breaks is usually not on campus, but like in a nearby off-campus apartment. So in somebody's like lounge kind of area where everybody can get together. I think like usually apartments have like clubhouses. That's how like they've done it in Davis. For me specifically, that the location that I'm looking at, because Berkeley's campus is a little bit different. I mean, East Bay's campus, like with Angie, is really cool, but not every campus is going to have that area where they'll let you gather, especially because our business isn't a club or organization. You know what I mean? Like a student run one, that's like the only way that you can do it on campus. But that's like the way that they've done it, is somewhere nearby where, students live and you can kind of get everybody together. In terms of like sales, and helping like get more sales, I totally understand what you mean by bundles. Students do tend to have smaller budget for products like our products, right? Which is funny because I know students will spend a lot of money on like eating out. So you kind of just you kind of have to accept the fact that like you will run into that problem a lot, is that we will want to spend a certain amount of money on some things, but not on other things. So for me, like the best advice I could probably give you is to just create that awareness for different things, like, what kind of skin products do you already use, like skincare, right? For example. And if you kind of just ask them general questions like that, they buy, if it's Curology, if it's CeraVe, I just buy whatever's at Target or whatever's at this store. You can kind of ask them questions about like, have you like, looked into where the ingredients come from? or looked into like, you know, any other products besides that? Can I recommend you some, right? And you kind of start talking about artistry and just the facts about artistry and how they're the only brand in the world to use Nutrilite, you know, derived ingredients that are organic and can be traceable. So just kind of educating them on your products, and also hosting beauty breaks, again, finding that location that's nice. What Angie's, you know, found that's really good is flyering. So, you know, the day of or like a few hours before the event, you know, having little flyers to advertise your beauty break, using social media too, to pass them out and be like, hey, free facials, you know, we have free facials over here. It's gonna be fun. There's music, there's this, there's that, you know. Students like social, you know, or social events and everything. They want a place where they can make friends, where they can come with friends, where they can get maybe free samples or just something, you know, students love free things. So just kind of investing in that, you know, with your team and being like, okay, like we're gonna buy, I'll buy the face mask, you know, we need these brushes, we need to get like, you know, water, we need to get bowls, like just all the things that you need. We're gonna need somebody to bring a speaker, you know, this, you know, we need help. Even if you have friends that aren't in the business, but they support you and they want to support your business, say, hey, you want to support my business? Even though you don't want to start it, can you help me? I can teach you how to do facials and I can teach you about my products and you can help me, you know, invite more people. Do you have a list of friends who you feel like would like, you know, free facials or would be interested in my products, right? I have a bunch of supportive friends that aren't necessarily in the business, but still support me in that way, right? They'll recommend my products to their family, to their friends, to their classmates. They'll take my products into class. I've gotten some of my friends to be like, hey, like I was drinking in excess in front of a student and they asked me about it. You know, here's their Instagram, text them. They want to buy excess from you. They're very interested, you know, and that's just because I'm able to create that relationship. You know, like who said it earlier, we don't burn the bridges, right? Even if somebody doesn't want to. I think it was Eileen. We don't burn the bridges even if they don't want to join the business, you know. You want to make sure that you create this image for your business and for our products. Because again, I would never want to like make Amway or artistry or Nutrilite look bad. Why? Because I know you're at UC Davis and you know, you have your business there too. So I'm going to try to make it look as good as possible for all of us in the business. So just know what a student thinks about, you know, like I mentioned, social events, they like free stuff. We like music, we like all that stuff. So just make your events as appealing as goes into your team and like candidates to like stay. Mikey's team has stayed up until this point because they created that bond, and it's from social events and it's from building that relationship and having that trust. So you want to make this an environment where not only you can build your business and build an asset, but you can also build friendships, right? And relationships and just a positive environment where people are welcomed and they feel like they're growing as people and not just like, oh, this is just another, you know, college friend group where we drink and we party and, you know, I feel terrible the next day and where I just feel like I'm not growing as a person, right? This is not that. This is the complete opposite of it. And that's why I'm so thankful that there's so many students in here, because not everybody gets the chance to have this type of environment and friendship, and just, you know, this great group of people who can influence you in a positive way, that's going to actually impact your future. You know what I mean? And actually get you somewhere after college, even if you don't use your degree. I know I'm probably not going to use it after a couple of years, but I'm completely happy with that because I know we can take a few students along the way so that way they can have the opportunity to have as great of a lifestyle as, you know, Phil and Luna have, Vu and Q, Ali and Maka, Sugi and Kajal, right? That's what we're here for. So I wish you the best of luck, Van.
Well, thank you so much for that. I actually do have one more follow-up
No, no,
question.
no,
I'll
no,
let
no,
you
no,
go.
no, 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 no.
And cost the 500 PV for one question. So come back when you're ready.
No, just really quick. Wait, no, Roxy, I just want to ask, how do you introduce yourself to your friends as a brand ambassador or just, you know, someone who uses the product and like it?
Wait, what do you mean introduce myself?
Like, how do you like introduce the products to your friend? You tell them that, okay, I am the brand ambassador of artistry, or I just like a customer and I really like the product.
No, I go into it straight as like I'm a business owner. You know what I mean? Like these are the products that I have in my business. I tell them a little bit about that. it's usually good to get people like in like a group, in my opinion, so that way you don't have to repeat yourself a bunch of times, and to do it in person. So if it's like, oh, like if you're very close to your friends, I don't know how close you are with your friends, but like I know I've done it where I'm like, oh, like let's have a sleepover, or let's have dinner together or something, right, at like my place, right, something like that. And I'm like, oh, and I have some products that I want to show you guys, and I want to just kind of talk to you a little bit more about my business. And everybody kind of gets together, and then I kind of lay out products that I have, so that way they can like see, touch things, look at catalogs, learn about it. It's kind of like a mini beauty break, or like, you know, mini product expo, where I'm like showing them everything. DTMing is more like separate, obviously. But if it's about like products and like introducing products to your friends and having it like be like positive, and like you control the information, right, that they're getting, I would do it in a group situation like that with physical products if you have them on hand. You know, offering to do makeovers if you're not good at makeup, watch YouTube tutorials, you know, learn how to use your products, offer, you know, to do makeup for events or for pictures, anything like that. Any opportunity for you to use your products, to make sure that they have like, you know, that good reputation with you and everything right off the bat. I hope that.
Okay, Van, hope that satisfy.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Hopefully I'll get to see you soon.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I think it's 10:30. It's not supposed to keep you guys this long, but you guys were just so generous to stay back and continue to bless this team. And I'm pretty sure we are, you know, our heart is full, and you know, and our notebook is just full of knowledge, and we just appreciate you guys big time. Jeff, you should come back. I'm pretty sure you have a few words to share, to say thank. Yeah, where's Jeff? But yeah, Jeff texted me, say he has a few words. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, just want to say a quick thank you to Mikke and, you know, the whole VNQ team. We're definitely in the process of going platinum done. We also don't want to miss out on being a part of Phil and Luna's diamond ship and VNQ's EDC ship. This will be the legacy leg and keep them and their family, you know, that I know they're expecting, right? And keep that whole family afloat, you know, this will be their future, the legacy. And I mean, no matter how many kids they have, will always be their kids, you know. And so we're just happy to be cousins with you guys and to see you guys grow. I just want to say, not just, of course, Mikke, I feel like you're the star of the show tonight, but your whole team, everyone here has been such an asset to our growth and our team. So many people look up to you guys. You have stories and stories to share, and we can't imagine, you know, what it was like. And honestly, we're just excited to run and get platinum done so we can go with you guys. But Mikke, I think you and I need to have a promise to go to Achievers together. That must be a done deal. We can't stop at just platinum either. And Roxy, of course, because we just cannot just leave our upline behind and just keep on taking so many postcards and Achievers pictures. Like, I'm tired of that, just as you guys probably are, man. So, you know, just want to say thank you guys so much, because there's a lot of wisdom behind it. I just want to say, actually, when they say like you don't really build a business until you put your heart into it, and I think you guys really exemplify that. It's not something you guys are doing. You guys don't do Amway, you live Amway. And I just, you know, really feel that from your genuinity and your passion for the products and the people. And so this whole team, even just on behalf of, you know, the Phil and Luna's team, you know, we just want to hear from you guys more. And, you know, we're excited to see you at Kumar. We want to keep growing alongside together. Just a little bit of excitement from our team. You know, we've launched 6 people this month. And over the last 3 months, we've launched around 10, you know, and so after a dry spell of like the last 3 years being stuck at 20, we're hit 30 now. Stella and I have our 4th leg with another candidate that he loves you, Mikke. He's like so excited after hearing you. You've launched that leg. I'll give you 1%, no big deal, you know. And so we're excited. We hope you guys get to meet our team. They're just so heartfelt to see you. TDC fam. Yeah,
we couldn't hear
they're
anything.
no, most of them are, you know, not right in some ways, but we're happy, we're excited. I'm kidding. I think you need to be a little crazy to hit a goal like platinum, just like you guys are. And so thank you for paving the way of making even the notion of 500 PV seem so normal, because we're gonna follow after that. You know, we're gonna break the break that barrier and overcome new challenges, and just we want to help you guys back, you know.
Absolutely.
And so whatever you return it tenfold. That's the whole goal of Go Giver. So if there's anything you guys need from us in SoCal or Kumar, feel free to ask us, because we're excited to help you guys, and there's nothing that we can do other than just keep growing together. But thank you guys for tonight. We'll see you in SoCal soon, whatnot.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. And guys, I mean, just hearing you guys, I mean, each of you guys spoke tonight you guys spoke beautifully. And I do believe that you already at platinum and above, just some PV and some number of people have to catch up. And we'll count on you guys for the EDC ship of Wu and Q, because of everybody that I've worked with, nobody has the conviction like Wu, nobody has the passion like Q, and both of them are just making perfect couple, and they inspire our team big time. And we just love them so much, and we can just feel the Wu and Q spirit through the sharing and the speech you had today. You guys really reminded me all the lesson that I got to learn my first few. So just to let you know, I mean, Wu and Q leadership worked. I mean, I guess that's how we made it here so far, me, Jeffrey. So I'm pretty sure that same impact, that same leadership can be proven one more time because of you guys. So Roxy and Mikey, you guys are gonna be back to Q12 qualification, just a matter of time. September is your time. We need a new Founder Emeralds and on our way to diamonds and EDC and beyond. So we want to thank you so much. Yep, 2024. I think that's the year. That's the EDC year. You guys totally.
That's the Orlando trip, guys.
Orlando
That's
trip.
Orlando.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm down.
That buyout, that Universal Studio, the Disney World buyout park, and that'll be like epic. And we need all of you guys to be there with us. Some rich friends to spend the money with, and looking forward to that. But yeah, guys, what a night. I believe everybody here got some note. They texted me crazy, say I've got a lot of notes from Mikey. We'll show you some appreciation, some of their notes later, but the team's getting really crazy. They cannot wait to hit the door. Some of them even want to go out and get contacts right now. So, and yeah, I mean, if each person here can just do the volume like Roxy or Angie or Brandon, some of you, Eileen, Beja, we're probably just breaking diamonds every year, and the whole Prit Worldwide team and Amway is gonna come and learn from all of us, but well, thank you guys. What a night. We wish you guys great growth, and can't wait to make a breakthrough together, and we're heading straight to diamond and beyond. Guys, that's it for tonight. Thank you, Mikey. Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.